This is a video going over a hip hinge with a hip shift and a rotation. So this is the ability for us to pivot our pelvis over top of a planted femur. So I have some other videos looking at progressions of this. Now this is a weighted version. So we're going to use a dumbbell. A kettlebell is ideal just because of the way the center of mass of the kettlebell moves with your body. But we're going to use a little bit of weight to actually pull us into this rotation so that we can teach this hip to get out of this rotation. So we'll be eccentrically loading our lateral rotators. So we can use a foam roller or a bench as a little bit of a cue to make sure that we're not cheating. So the motion without the weight, I'm going to start by showing from the front. We want to make sure that we have our center of mass distributedly even on our four corners of our feet. So we can find that by sort of rocking forward and back. So we have the back two corners of our heels heavy and the ball of our foot, the inside and the outside of the ball of our foot. So we want all four corners of our foot on the ground. And then an intermediate version is going to be back toes on the floor. We're going to sit back into our hip hinge. So sit bones go long. And then this right hip is going to drop. So this is where I can have my bench or my chair, because if I drop this right hip and the knee goes close to the bench, now I've lost this foot contact. Or I can have the foam roller here, because if I drop this hip and it comes towards the foam roller, then I'm cheating. So we're gonna pay close attention to the direction of this front knee. It's gonna stay right over top of our midfoot. Now my resistance is gonna go on the outside hip. So the weight is going to go behind our back. So I'm on my back toes. I'm gonna sit back into my hip hinge with my weight evenly on all four corners of this foot. Knee is sort of over the midfoot. We can think about driving our knee forward as our hip goes back. We're getting into our hip hinge as deep as our range allows. And then we're gonna allow the weight to pull the other side of our pelvis down. We're gonna take an inhale and then we're gonna lift up from there. You see how I lost that corner? So inhale. If you're like me and you keep losing the corner, then we can use a band instead of the weight. I can tuck the very edge of this band underneath my big toe. And now the band is going to provide me resistance. So I'm going into my hinge. I'm going to let that band pull me into that rotation, and then I'm going to push up into the band to get out of it. So now my brain is connecting through that big toe. Now this one's going to be limited by access to a band. I'm going to show the other side with the weight. If you have a kettlebell, we're going to hold it with the handle, and the actual kettlebell can dangle on the outside of that weight. So now we've got our weight on all four corners of this foot. We're going to step one foot back. We're going to sit into that hinge. I'm going to watch where this knee is going, so all four corners of this foot are into the floor. I'm going to let this kettlebell pull me into rotation, and then exhale to come up. So inhale, and then exhale to come up.